we've got another important point for you. We did inside-outside coordinated last, which just leaves two more. Oh, hey, perfect timing. Two more classes in the unit. Number 9. Let's quickly review. All right, everyone just say them real fast. Head suspended. Closed chest lift back. Waist loose. Substantial, insubstantial. Shoulders, elbows low. Use mind, not strength. Upper and lower follow. Inside-outside coordinated. That's right. All right, here we are. Number 9. Connected without interruption. Ooh, connected without interruption. Commentary. In the external systems, this sounds like a hardcore history reading, so sorry. In the external systems, there is a postnatal kind of localized Jing. Therefore, there are beginning and end continuous sections and broken sections. When the old strength is broken and the new strength hasn't been born yet, at this time it's easy for others to take advantage. In Tai Chi Chuan, however, that's my however, one uses mind and does not use strength. Remember that? From the beginning to the end, the form is continuous without interruption, circulating indefinitely. As the original treatise says, quote, like a long river and immense sea, continuous without end. It is also said, delivering Jing is like pulling a thread of silk from a cocoon. This all means moving continuously in one Chi. Continuousness is the theme here. So first they start contrasting the continuous movement of Tai Chi with other martial arts where there's a move and then there's an end, and then you can be attacked before you figure out your next move to start. Those were two silly moves, but any two moves could be there. A punch, a kick. There's a break in the middle, that's an opportunity. Tai Chi doesn't do that. Uses mind, not strength. So it's got that whole idea as opposed to localized muscular strength. And yeah, continuous without interruption. And then it talks about the silk reeling, delivering silk. Delivering Jing is like, which is Jing is, remember, the whole body power, not the Li or the localized muscle strength. Delivering this kind of power is like pulling a thread of silk from a cocoon. So, on the most obvious, I guess you could say, there's just being continuous, not stopping. And that's going to be my advice when we practice the first section, is just try to not stop, which is harder than you think, because really you've learned everything with stops, with a stop, with a stop, with a stop, and with a stop, right? You've learned with stops because you have to learn like that to get clarity and details. So now we have to unlearn that a little bit, get in our continuous moving mind. I'll talk about it more between runs. So first, we're going to run the first section, kind of like we just did, but without names and without stopping. So just if you try to catch yourself stopping, and I like to think of it as rolling through the stop sign. Not driving, I'm not giving any driving advice right now, but learn in your form, like catch where you would have stopped, and then instead of stopping, just barely roll through it. Okay. So that's the base level to understand this on. Let's try it. Connected, continuous without interruption. And begin. So we'll go a little slower than our previous pace, but be warned, if you are new to getting continuity, it may actually make you speed up. We'll talk about that after this. Okay. Take a moment to reflect on how that was. How it was different, better, worse, just different. In class, we would sort of have people discuss how it went for them, and usually that's illuminating for me and for others. Okay, so I mentioned a few things we talked about between runs. One of them is it might have felt like I was going too slow. And my logical explanation for that is that you're used to the speed of the form with stops. So if you take out those stops instantly, your form's already faster. So you'll have to find your slowness in the moving parts and not in the stopping. You might experience forgetting what move comes next because you're used to this stopping point as a time to think what's next. Like if that just becomes part of your form as you get here and then you think what's next, then moving continuously will start to make you get out of that habit, which is great. Right? Yeah. So there are deeper levels to understand this point at besides don't stop. Because technically, part of you will stop in space, but the analogy I like is it's like the stop of a pendulum at the top of its swing. It's never stopped accelerating if you've studied this kind of thing. I barely have, like grade school level, right? Or maybe a little in college. But what I understand is that it's accelerating down, and as it's coming back up, it's accelerating to a stop. And then that same acceleration from gravity is sending it back down. So it comes to a stop, but it's never really, its dynamic nature has never really come to being still with momentum. I'm, of course, just fumbling around the idea, but hopefully that makes sense to you. And how that connects to the body is your center never really stops. So I may come to the end of a move, but my center has sort of hit the end of that acceleration, and then I'm trying to exaggerate with the middle of my body, but the center has sort of hit the end of that swing, the top of that swing, and then it's starting the next swing. So that's a more advanced way to look at connect without interruption. So try that if you have the mind space. If you still want to try the first method again for the next run through, that's okay. If you want to try something different, take the idea of your center always being accelerated kind of in one direction or another by your E, not by gravity. And if you're a beginner and this is your first or second time through, this is a big ask. So this is a challenging concept to even feel like, what does moving from my center mean yet? But like a lot of these, putting in the effort to try to feel it happen, even if it doesn't work yet, will create a mental space for when it does happen, it'll be the light bulb moment, or otherwise it might not. Let's try it. Begin. Like a long river in an immense sea. Continuous without it. get something out of that, or at least you can see how that is a path towards getting the continuous Tai Chi type motion we're trying to get. Okay, let's do our life skill. Path of self-mastery requires a creative spirit. A creative spirit has no self-doubt. Path of self-mastery requires a creative spirit. A creative spirit has no self-doubt. Path of self-mastery requires a creative spirit. Creative spirit has no self-doubt. All right, like training dismissed.